Telecuento News is presented by Fiesta Hispana 2026, Second Harvest Community Food Bank, Latinos Connect, The Hein Law Firm, the bilingual lawyers in Missouri, Raymar Cuban Food, A Little Piece of Cuba, and the Midwest.
Shelter Insurance, this is Charles.
Afternoon, Charles.
Joshua?
Does Shelter Insurance cover shiny red cars?
Yeah.
What about purple vans?
Also, yes.
Monster trucks?
You know we offer car insurance, son. What's going on?
From shiny red cars to purple minivans, we're your shield. We're your shelter.
See Shelter Agent Matt Cathy in St. Joseph today for a free insurance review.
English, this space with accent, flavors, and integration. And today we have a Dr. Gina Villegas with us. She always come back in Spanish. And of course, now this year that we have English, we invite her to be part because she always given us tips about this come back to school. We are very close to start the comeback to school. Some school district will start next week. But in the next 3 weeks, probably the majority of students in Kansas and Missouri will start going to the rooms again. Gina, welcome.
Thank you very much for the invitation, Maria.
So I want to know, what are these tips that you want to give to parents about these and these Latino parents, first generation, maybe first parents that for the kids come back to the school? What is the 3 things that you think parents must to do right now in order to make a successful return?
Okay. So the first thing I think is to really go through the process and make sure that parents have filled out the required registration forms so that the first day of school, on the first day of school, the child has everything that they need to start school, like vaccinations. If they need vaccinations, they filled out the form. Also in our district, for the first time, all families who want free or reduced lunch are being required to fill out the form. That is a lengthy form. And so if parents can get help before school starts, that will help the situation or help school get off to a good start. So the first thing would be registration. That would also include making sure that children know where their bus stops are, so that parents should get the bus list in advance. If their child is riding the bus, they should stop by, practice with the student, so that the student's safety is covered first. The next thing I would recommend, and is being recommended by all education experts, is now is the time to get students used to having a routine, meaning a bedtime and a time at which they will wake up, which is getting closer and closer to the bedtime and the time that they will wake up once school starts. This is so important for all children and young people. One of the most difficult hurdles for students is not getting enough sleep. So whether it's because they are playing video games or on the phone, those types of activities and devices need to start being limited so that students do get enough sleep at night. And that also will then also go into their emotional well-being, because the more sleep they get, the better they're going to feel. So I would say that is also a really important factor when we think about getting the school year started. The other thing is with regard to diet and excessive sugars. That is something that is an easy fix as far as helping students to be prepared and helping them to adjust to getting enough sleep, reducing the amount of sugars they're drinking during the day, because we have so many students who are drinking sodas or even electrolyte waters, which may actually be unhealthy and result in side effects like that can affect them emotionally, like not being able to sleep or having an upset stomach or diarrhea, things like that. We really need to look at that too. So I would say that the physical safety, the health, and sleeping, those are great ways to help us get started.
I want to emphasize what you talked about sleeping, because sometimes for the elementary, it's very easy for the parents to put the kids to sleep. But when you go on middle school and high school, the battle is bigger inside the house. They feel they can do what they want. So can you explain more about these battles that after they don't sleep, they have inside the school in order to learn if they are unable to sleep enough? So parents can understand the repercussion of the situation. Why it's important how much they sleep, because when they are teenagers, they many times can say to the parent, I wake up on time, so leave me alone and I will be on time. And parents say, well, it's true.
Right. Well, if they do wake up on time, many of our students who are unmotivated to go to school do not. And that leads to greater concerns, which include health concerns and depression, and also the ability to function at a competitive level. I know that it's hard for older students, and as parents, it is hard and it is frustrating. For example, when we have toddlers and we have to correct them about the correct behaviors, it's the same with older students. I will say in my household, my son was required to turn in his phone to his dad every night. That also avoided him begging me for more time and blah, blah, because he knew there was no begging, there was no asking. And we maintained this through high school, 9 p.m., give us your phone. I mean, the other thing is that's leverage, because who paid for most of the phones for young people?
Parents do.
So that's real. That can also be used as currency with students. When you do something well, we have no problems. Yes, communicate, have fun. You're not going to, if they're not going to school, not going to sleep, causing a ruckus, for their own sake, they would be better to have some limitations. There are so many studies, and I know that that it is relatively new, but there are significant studies that show how such exposure is affecting the brain of students. So it's really for their own well-being to limit it. I'm not saying that they should never use phones, but if they are using a cell phone more than they are interacting authentically with those around them, and they most likely are, then that's a situation that should be remediated.
Alice, I want to talk about the involvement of parents in the schools. Is sometimes parents thinking that the only responsibility they have is bring the kids to the school, feed the kids, and pick up the kids back from the school. But I want to, you talked about for the teachers and even for completely the school system, how important it is the parents are being involved. And involved means more than put a message in Facebook.
Right. I think it is parental involvement is so key. And I think so many parents underestimate their own ability to be able to help kids in school. Because there are so many things that parents can do that are like working with flashcards or to help support students. Dropping them off at school is not enough. As a parent, even before becoming a teacher, I firmly believed, and I still believe, that we are our children's first teachers. Parents, and every parent is, qualified just by being a parent. And so we have to realize that we cannot put the trust on any 1, 2, or 12 teachers. The trust, it has to be on us to educate especially our young kids.
That they need to do. The time go fast, but I want to talk something before we left that I know is important for you, is important for me, is what we are doing here, and have to do with to try to keep our kids bilingual. How important is to be able to maintain the two language and the development they can have in their brain, and how to work in this battle, because sometimes came to be a battle. Home speak Spanish, school speak English, kids start prefer English over Spanish or every other language. We had talked about the Spanish because it's what I speak, but it could be any language, Arabic, French, to whatever language. So tell me about how do you think parents can emphasize that the be bilingual is important to the kids?
Well, I think, if parents use the language at home, they don't really have to convince the kids. They're just speaking the language. That's one piece. The other part is really that is the biggest advantage. The biggest advantage that students who have speakers of other languages at home have compared to other students is the fact that they have a native speaker at home. Later, that translates into self-identity, which is so important. Many years ago, the United States, there was a big time when it was really promoted that the United States is a melting pot. However, what was discovered is that for individuals who aren't of European descent, the color doesn't melt. And so it's a constant question of identity in which people are asking, where are you from? What are you? Things like that. And so students who who no longer speak the native language of their parents are missing out on a part of their identity that later they could struggle with. So I think one parent should realize, I really appreciate that parents honor English and tell their children how important it is to speak English and read English and write in English, and that's great. But we should never devalue the importance of keeping a student's self-identity intact.
I always tell them then, when they are even child, I say that this is a superpower they have. They have a superpower and they can use it like the superheroes when they need it. So
it is true, and there are neurological benefits, because people who speak two languages, it is shown that it is like doing exercise for the brain. And people who are bilingual suffer less instances of Alzheimer's. So it is something to where health can be affected positively by continuing with bilingualism.
Well, that is good. Dr. Gina Villegas, Gina for me, because I know Gina for 16 years. I appreciate every year you come back here to give us these little tips to try help in this process. Everybody's excited. Everybody want to have the new shoes, the new backpack, thinking what will happen if my kid is graduate, or is the last year in elementary, but this is Telecuento News is presented by Fiesta Hispana 2026, Second Harvest Community Food Bank, Latinos Connect, The Hein Law Firm, the bilingual lawyers in Missouri, Raymar Cuban Food, a little piece of Cuba and the Midwest.
Shelter Insurance, this is Charles.
Afternoon, Charles.
Joshua?
Does Shelter Insurance cover shiny red cars?
Yeah.
What about purple vans?
Also, yes.
Monster trucks?
You know we offer car insurance, son. What's going on?
From shiny red cars to purple minivans, we're your shield, we're your shelter.
See Shelter Agent Matt Cathy in St. Joseph today for a free insurance review.